What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again with John, and soon to be joined by Millsy from Across the Park podcast. This is your Monday debrief: Everton 3, Bournemouth 0. But John, I want to start not talking about the game. I want to talk about a comment that's actually annoyed me. It's been retweeted a few times, and I can't actually see the exact article, but I think it was said in his aftermatch reaction where Sean Dyche basically took a pop at, well, I'd argue fans that maybe have a platform, content creators, um, fans with a voice almost. He's took
fans with an opinion.
Yeah, he's took a pop at us for talking about the tactics, talking about the game, and it's riled me a little bit. This is a manager that is, 2 wins in 8 in the Premier League. He stumbles across a team at Villa, then reverts back for Luton and loses. Then he goes back to what we all wanted this weekend and he wins. And he's trying to give it the big one, in my opinion. I'm all for backing a manager, but he's making it very hard.
The thing is, Michael, the reason why James Garner played where he did the other day was his hand was forced, wasn't it? That probably wasn't going to happen, what we've been shouting for. And that's probably what he's having a dig at the fans on social media. Because as you've said to me, Michael, the managers do find out what's getting put on social media. And you said the other week, it seemed like he'd had a pop at you with something you said in one of the videos, because he sort of spoke about it, but not as in your face as if he was speaking about it, if you know what I mean. So we know Garner guy was injured or pulled up injured in the warm-up. We know Anana turned up late for the game, and he's been late a few times to training as well, and it's riled Sean Dyche a bit. Apparently they've had a bit of a fallout. But he wouldn't have done what we've been screaming for on this channel, which is not play them 3 in the middle and don't play James Garner on the right. That wouldn't have happened for certain things that happened before the game on Saturday. And maybe it's a pop now because his hand's been forced, as I said, that he had to do what everyone's been screaming for. And we go and put a performance in like that. Is it still a dig at the fans, as if to say, well, yous were right, but I'm not going to admit it? Do you know what I mean? And that's the way it's come across. Now, I've said this before. I don't see what he sees in reverting back to that middle 3 and putting James Garner right. James Garner, best performances in an Everton shirt have been in the centre of the park. Amadou Onana's best performances in an Everton shirt have been when he's played with James Garner. We can all see it. He's got egg on his face because we've all been screaming for it, and he's quite stubborn. We know he's got his favourites, i.e. Ashley Young again. So I don't think he likes being proved wrong. And I think on Saturday, his dig now is because he's being proved wrong because his hand was forced.
To be honest, he's got a hell of an ego. I mean, he's got a hell of an ego because
massive. Considering he's done nothing.
When you sit there and you think, I appreciate this is a manager that has got, X amount of experience in the Premier League. He managed to Burnley side into Europe. I appreciate he has got some calibre. But this is also a Burnley side that almost happily got relegated. And I mean happily, as in, it was almost like accepted that Sean Dyche was just keeping them in the league, and there was very little ambition. Burnley had a very good team, and it was almost drilled into them to almost feel like minnows. When it was unfair on Burnley, in my opinion. I thought they had some really good players at times. Ashley Barnes a few years ago was sensational. They had Stephen Delfour in the middle of the park. They had a Dwight McNeil. They've had just decent centre-halves in Tarkowski. They had a Nick Pope. This Burnley team was never as bad as what I ever thought people made out. I actually just thought he set them up fairly negative, and we saw it at times at Everton, and his comments really frustrated me. And he made a comment before the game in his post-match preview, in his pre-match discussion, and he was talking about He said, but he was asked a question about fans wanting to see James Garner in the middle of the park, and he reacted really loud and aggressively, going, "What fans? What fans?" I'd say 80% of the fan base, Sean. You know, just because we sit here in the stands and we pay to watch this football doesn't mean we can't give opinions. It doesn't mean you have to take shots at us, whether we're right or we're wrong. He's wound me up a little bit because there was no need for it, and being in a position where he's meant to be the calm head in the storm, and I know it's difficult, and I'm not digging him out for that. What he's coming to at Everton is a shit show. Yeah, absolutely. But do not reinforce that behaviour that we had off the board last season. Now with the fans, don't start doing that. That's crazy because he'll just be gone. He'll go. Like Everton fans won't tolerate it.
No, he should know by now how Everton fans react when it's not all rosy, Michael. He's seen that, as you said, he's come into what he's come into. So he knows Everton fans don't take it. So for him to have a pop at the fan base within, or media, or whoever, or YouTube channels, to have a pop at that certain group of people in the last two press conferences he's done, you know, is wrong, because as you've just said, Everton fans won't take it, Michael. We've seen what we've done with the board, you know, so he's got to be careful. He's got to choose his words. He's not bigger than Everton Football Club. His ego is huge, and to be honest, I think he's getting above his station a bit, in my opinion.
Let's welcome to the scene Mr. Ian Mills, Across the Park podcast host, entrepreneur, man of mystery. You know, all he needs to wear is a black turtleneck, and you think he was the Milky Bar Kids. You know, he's got the works. Mills, we were talking about the comments that Dyche has made before we talk about the Bournemouth game. What's your thoughts?
It's a bit of a dangerous game, isn't it?
Oh, he's quiet. He's coming. I can't hear him.
On mute.
No, you know, we can hear you, but turn your volume up.
You sound like a mouse.
Is that any better, guys?
No.
Is it the volume on your phone or something, or whatever you're using?
He uses proper equipment. He doesn't use a phone. He uses proper equipment. You know, he's got his laptop. He's got his studio. He's got the work.
Well, buy me some.
But brilliant.
Let's listen.
He can't. He's muted himself. He's muted now. He's having a Western. Is that Millsy? Welcome to the show.
Right, so we can carry on with talking, Michael, while Millsy sorts that. Go on. So
yeah, so I just think it's a dangerous game for Dyche. You know,
he's playing a dangerous game. Because I'm not being funny, Michael. Isn't it something like, I can't even remember the stats that I sent you the other day about the league games when he was even following over from Burnley? Isn't it something like 17 league wins in 67 league games or something like that? Whatever it is. Don't get above your... Well, yeah. So, you know, don't get above your station. You're no bigger than Everton Football Club. Everton fans won't tolerate it. We're entitled to an opinion. And basically, as Michael says, 80% of the fans have asked for the team or the formation that you have played with James Garner in the middle. And when you've done it, the performance has been a lot better. So we're not wrong. Take the egg off your face. Just calm down a bit, Sean.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's it. We should clip that and then send it directly to just calm down, mate. Calm down.
Oh, we're probably watching anyway, because it seems he watches a lot of stuff anyway.
Well, and this is the thing. I think he will see the reaction to this. Now, I know that other channels have sent me his comments. I've been sent them by a few different people, and you sit there and you just think, what are you doing? Like, you're not helping yourself. Like, we, you know, as a fan base, we want this club to go forward. None of us wanted to have the start to the season we had. I personally feel we should have 9 points more than we have because I think we should have beaten Fulham, we should have beaten Luton, and we should have beat Wolves. I can take a point away at Sheffield United. I can live with that. But those 3 other home games, we should have won. I mean, we should have. You know, he talks about XG a lot. I think we've got something like the 5th highest XG in the league, which means we should be 5th in the table or something for goals. I mean, it's a joke, really.
Yeah, but as we said on the previous video, Michael, XG only counts for anything if you can defend. You know, and I know we got a clean sheet the other day, but taking nothing away from the performance, that was a very, very poor Bournemouth side.
But that's a positive. That's what we need to be doing going forward. And the only thing is, you know, I'll be prepared to let this one slide. Like, no problem, Sean. It's fine. You've had a pop at us. We've kind of told you what to do, and you've done it, and it's worked. So, you know, don't want to sit here and say we told you so, but we all did tell you so. we did tell you so, and we do know you watch because, I mean, you were quick enough to have a pop at me because, I mean, I tweeted, it got hundreds of tweets, a few thousand likes or whatever it was, basically saying that, you know, he was a bit over the top in one of his press conferences, and he quoted it in his match reaction. So he definitely reads Twitter, watches YouTube, and he takes in our opinions, and that is fine. That's fine, because what he needs to remember is we're all on the same team. We all want to go forward, and touch wood, we're going to go forward. Let's Millsy's having an absolute Western supermare with his microphone. Let's go on to the Bournemouth. Oh, hang on. Is he back now? Can we hear him?
Can you hear me?
What is that? That's even worse. Now you sound like a microwave. He's having an absolute Western. Just unplug it and just use your laptop. Just unplug it and use your mic in your laptop. Speak.
Any better?
Silent. You're quiet. You're really quiet.
Mate, I've got no idea what's going on. This is going to be a hell of an edit for you, John.
Oh, we are.
It's going louder the more you talk. It is. Started off like that, and then he went dead loud like that, and he said, "You're going to have a massive edit, John." That's how it happened.
Yeah.
Is that working now? Any better?
That's perfect. Good enough. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Perfect. Millsy, welcome to the screen. Absolute Western super bear by Millsy there, but we'll let him off. It's fine.
Millsy and our friends.
We were talking about the Dyche comments. What's your take on them? Because I've got to be honest, they don't sit well with me.
No, and it won't sit well with people who tweet or who have an opinion online on the phone, because that's who he's gone at. He's basically targeted a number of people who possibly use their phone to tweet what they want to tweet about the football club, and a lot of it has been quite negative lately. I think it's dangerous, to be honest, boys. I think it's dangerous to do that. I think it's just as dangerous as, you know, some guys on some fans who criticised the ones who maybe didn't join in the protests and called them certain things and they offended them. And everyone's got a right to have their opinion. Just because your opinion's on the internet and it wasn't when you picked your local paper up and spoke to him in the shop, I guess he's speaking to Evertonians somewhere who are happy, maybe guys who are around the club in Finch Farm, I don't know. I think to sum it up, I think it's dangerous. And I think he's, for some reason, done it, and he's put a lot of pressure on himself now when he didn't need to do it.
Do you know, me and John were just talking about this, and he clearly watches what we say, you know, other channels and whatever, and he clearly reads what is put on Twitter. I mean, I was evidence of that. I mean, so when you sit and you watch and you listen to what he says and he directs it back at the fans, it comes across like he thinks he's bigger than us. And on the Monday after the game, it should be positive. It should be positive. We should all be smiling. We should all be saying, you know, we've learned a lesson. We're going in the right direction, blah, 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 blah. There was no need for any of this there was no need for that comment, in my opinion, and it basically stoked a fire that kind of wasn't there. You know, people were saying that he should have been sacked after Luton. I mean, that isn't going to happen. It isn't going to happen. We haven't got a financial resource to do it. But I've had enough of Dyche in terms of the tactical ineptness. But he does occasionally get it right. He does occasionally get it right. And whether it's listening to fans doing what we want and appeasing us and we're getting it right, or whether it's a case of him sitting there going, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to change this midfield. I'm not going to play Decore, Ladrissa Garnagay and Onana because it clearly hasn't worked because we've won 1 in 8 or whatever it was. You know, he does change it. He puts Garner and Onana in the middle and it works. And he gets away with it. It's fine. You know, we were all happy. Clean sheet, 3 goals, could have scored more, played Bournemouth off the park. It's just really disappointing. Really disappointing.
There's no need for it at all, Lester. I just don't understand it because if you look at Dyche as a person, but what he's done at the football club is he's took the emotion out of it. Now, he doesn't bang his chest and he doesn't say this is the biggest club in the world and he doesn't say these are the greatest supporters in the world. All the stuff that we like, and he hasn't done that. Now, Lampard was really good at that. If anything, Lampard's overly reached to make that connection to the level that when he should have been sacked, no one was really calling for it publicly. No one was banging down at, Finch Farm and saying, get rid of this manager. And everyone just accepted the fact that it was the time to go and wished him well because they liked him. Dyche hasn't got that likability with a lot of Evertonians already because I'm an Evertonian who needs this, and a lot of us do. We want that. We're a sucker for it. We want someone to call us the best football club in the world and the biggest football club in the world. And I'm managing the best set of fans. And he's already took the emotion out of it. And he approaches this as a job. Now, if he keeps Everton up again this season, the argument will be he approaches it right. He's kept Everton up for 2 seasons by doing it that way. But what the point I'm getting at, John, you may disagree here, is I just don't think he's got a connection enough to be able to do this today.
No, and this is what we said before you come on. His ego is massive. His ego, he thinks he's bigger than Everton Football Club, and quite right what you've just said, Millsy. He doesn't have the rapport with the fans that we've seen past managers have. So if he hasn't got that rapport with the fans, he shouldn't be coming out and spouting all kinds of rubbish like this because he's in no position to do so. Because, what we've been saying about that middle three, what Michael and you said before, it's worked when it hasn't been the way he wants it to be. His hand was forced on Saturday with Ladrissa Garnagay pulling up in the warm-up. He took Onana out the team because apparently he reported late for the match. His hand was forced on Saturday. So we could be sitting here having a different conversation yet again, saying he was stubborn, he picked them 3 in the middle, James Garner was out on the right, and his hand was forced. He's a very stubborn manager for me, a very, very stubborn manager. You said before you come on, Mills, he's got his favourites. We all know that. So he's in no position because the things that we've asked for him to do, whether it's been forced or whether he's made them changes himself like he did against Aston Villa in the middle, it's worked. Now, I don't think he likes that. He's been proved wrong with what the fans have been shouting for, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Twitter, and he's read it. He's been proved wrong that when he plays their midfield 3, it doesn't work. We've said it doesn't work. It's been proved it doesn't work. When he changes it, what we're shouting for, it's worked. And he didn't like being proved wrong because his ego was that high.
It's just a shame that, it's just a shame that this is off the back of a 3-0 win. I feel like we haven't.
That's the most annoying thing, that we should be on here. And I've got no problem in coming out and saying that for whatever reason, he got it right on Saturday. And I've said this over on my channel. We don't need him to be a problem. The last thing we need is this manager to be any sort of problem.
We've got enough problems at the club, haven't we?
Enough. He's the one who should be stable. He's the one who should be the guy who we go, do you know what? Whether we connect emotionally or not, at the end of each season, he's keeping our heads above the water and he deserves his contract and he deserves the job for what he's doing now. That's what we should be saying. We should be having a discussion amongst ourselves, maybe doubting ourselves, maybe saying, is this guy doing more than we think because he's put 3 points on the board, and questioning ourselves, and maybe that's how we all get round and more people do back him. It's just the last thing he needs now is to go after whether he thinks it's a pocket of Evertonians or whether he just thinks it's a throwaway comment. it's now out there, and I imagine it's going to be brought up when someone speaks to him at the next press conference.
Yeah.
Unless he watches the Blue Boys Network tonight and then he gets himself on Twitter and then he has a right go at us in his next one. Right, well, we did win 3-0 and it was a good performance. James Garner scored the first goal. Jack Harrison scored an absolutely exquisite second goal, and a third goal was a Doucouré finish. Interesting stat. When Doucouré has scored, Everton have not. When Doucouré has scored, Everton have lost a game. I think that was the stat I read, or in the last 12 goals, we've won 8 and drew 4 or something. So, happy with the performance, boys. I mean, is that fair to say? Happy with the performance levels, everything?
From the first whistle to the last whistle, it was a spot-on performance, wasn't it? Not taking nothing away from Everton. I think we'll all agree that Bournemouth weren't the best opposition, but you can only beat what's in front of you. It's the old saying. But, some of our players who should be standing up, and we've spoke about this in the past, our big game players tend to go missing and don't put a shift in. I thought, Onana, you both know I've been one of his biggest critics. I'll give credit when it's due. I thought he was brilliant again on Saturday. I thought Jack Harrison come in. Great goal. Not many players in our team would have a pop at that. So it's a great goal by him. But special praise for me for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Thought he worked his absolute socks off. He was winning headers. He was strong. He was running into the channels. He was holding the ball up. He brought the midfield into play. And I think that's why the team performance looked like it did, because our big game players stood up to the occasion. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we need more of. It's nice going into the international break. 2 tough games coming up against that lot and West Ham. But as the manager quite rightly pointed out, it's 3 wins in 4 now, I think it is. Okay, 1 was a cup game. Breeds confidence, doesn't it? Nice going into a couple of tough fixtures. But again, performance for me Saturday was a really, really good day.
Yeah, I think good is the right word. Now, I said to a few of my mates after the game, I don't think Everton, and this is not a negative, I don't think the team and the individuals got over 7 or 8 out of 10. And that's not a negative, because good teams should be able to beat teams at a 7 or 8 out of 10. I look at the chance of Spurs on Saturday, and I really think we could have took them to the swords if we'd gone up a gear to a 9 or a 10. And I think it was there for that. For whatever reason, I think Everton did play really well, but I just think there's more to come. So, yeah, really pleased with the 3 points. Really pleased with some individual performances. Jack Harrison added so much balance to the side. He wasn't drifted inside, and he wasn't leaving a Nathan Patterson or an Ashley Young exposed, which we have seen at times to detrimental measures this season. The pair of them at right back have been tethered at times because Garner naturally drifts in. So I thought Harrison was really good. Lewin, I thought, was really unselfish in his play. There was times in the second half where he was just asking Pickford to give it to me and I'll keep the ball for us, and he didn't seem obsessed with getting that goal. We've had some strikers in the past who've always seemed obsessed. They've got to get on the score sheet, otherwise they haven't had a good game. Don't get that with Lewin. I think he was pleased to be part of an Everton winning team on Saturday. And then look, I think some of you boys have mentioned it already before I came on, but without getting overly excited, I just think I'm watching a really, really good defender now. And Jarrad Branthwaite is only going to get better. And I think Saturday he was really good.
Yeah, and do you know another
future captain for me?
Do you know another defender that's absolutely stood up in the last 3 or 4 games as well? I can't believe I'm saying it, but Vitaly Mykolenko.
Yeah,
it's like I watched him on Saturday, and I've watched him. I've watched when he's come into the team this season, and I don't know what's happened, but defensively he's been fairly solid. He's prepared to go forward now. He was doing overlapping runs. He even got a couple of shots off against Bournemouth. Now, look, I'm not sitting here saying he's the best left back Everton have ever had, because he's not. But I actually don't think he's as bad as I thought he was.
I think he's been brilliant since he's come back. And I think since he come back into the team, I think he's been brilliant. But it also helps, Michael, when you've got a settled team around you as well, and when the team's winning. Do you know what I mean? And clean sheet on Saturday. I think Branthwaite helps out a lot, being in the centre-half position. He can also go over and cover him. And Branthwaite, for me, as I just said before, is a future Everton captain. I think that new contract, that's the way Everton have got to move forward now. Get these young players tied down to contracts and treat it as other big clubs do. And I'm not saying Everton big club because of recent success, because we've had none. But you get clubs who bring players through, or they sign them young and give them contracts, and then the players progress, and you can sell them for a good profit. That's the mould Everton have got to look to now. And I think Branthwaite, hopefully, he doesn't have to leave because Everton will start winning stuff. But that's the mould that Everton should be looking at now with players like him. He was linked back to go back to PSV. Everton said no, signed him to the contract. He looks happy because he's playing now as well. Week in, week out. I think he's going to be a top draw defender, Branthwaite.
Can I just add that is yet another call that the fans made, because this season we started with Michael Keane at the back. Just saying. I'll take as many pops as he can take at us, to be honest. I mean, I could sit here, I've got a list longer than my arm about inept decisions, so he's rattled me. Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what was really good as well? The transition. So every time that Bournemouth had an attack, and this is credit to Dyche, absolute credit. You see, we do give credit on this channel when they do something right. We won the ball back 11 times in the Bournemouth final third or their half. 11 times. That means that Everton were constantly applying pressure from both midfield and our forwards. Bournemouth couldn't get them out their own half at times, and even when they did, they were limited to not great chances. There was one header and one moment in the second half you could argue they probably could have scored, but we got it off the line. But winning the ball that far up the pitch just allows you to dominate the game. And that's Mills is right. We didn't get out of second gear, but because we won the ball consistently in their half, we didn't really need to work really hard to win.
No, I think you're right, and I think it was pleasing, and that's an aspect that Lewin brings to us that other players maybe don't. Is that Lewin does the hard work, and he doesn't mind doing the hard work, Lewin. And I think, to be fair to Lewin, I'm not his biggest fan, but I can only imagine it if I take my blue hat off and what he's gone through in the past couple of years, because he's someone who does play when he can. It's not someone who's sitting there, not playing. There's times that Benitez and Lampard wheeled him out, and you could see he wasn't ready. So maybe when he's been on the pitch, maybe he's playing within 70% of himself. Maybe he's being cautious and careful himself. And maybe the fitness plan that the manager's had him on, I think he's been on that twice now. And both times he's come out to that fitness plan, he's looked really, really fit. So maybe that's a big part. He's just feeling really good in himself. And that in itself gives us the extra 10, 20, 30% that he'll give you up there on the dirty work. Boys, I think I owe someone money. Someone's banging my door down. Give me 1 minute and I'll jump back on, okay?
Yeah,
as Millsy's just said there, though, Michael, about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you said before we'll give the manager praise where it's due. And I think he's managed Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back from the injuries he's had. I think he's been spot on with that. I really do. We didn't rush him back, as Millsy's just said, the way the other managers did. And I think this Calvert-Lewin now is the Calvert-Lewin we had 2 years ago, 18 months ago. Yeah. I really do. He looks lean, he looks fit, he looks hungry, he's strong, he's powerful, he's making them runs. We've spoke about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and one thing that frustrated me about it was he always seemed to jump too early for the ball. Yeah. So by the time the ball's reached him, he's on his way down. Even now, he's winning headers, and I don't know whether that's because of the midfield he's got round him who could come in and help him. But as I say, credit where it's due to Sean Dyche. I think he managed Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back spot on.
Yeah, and I think as well, he's playing with a smile on his face again. I noticed a couple of times, I watched Match of the Day as well, and you're watching the game. There was a moment where he dinks the goalkeeper and just puts it wide. He's got a smile on his face. He's that moment where Pickford fires the ball over to him, and he takes a touch and he hits it half volley, goes over the bar, but he's 20 yards out and he's trying things. We've got a confident, positive Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, and he looks a good player. He looks a good player. We've always, unfortunately for Lewin, because of his injuries, he's never really been able to follow up that season under Ancelotti where he started like an absolute freight train. died off in the second half of that season. He's never been able to do it again to prove whether he was that 10-goal-a-season striker or a 20-goal-a-season striker.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he's... Go on.
No, you just hope that he's somewhere in the middle of that. I don't think he's a 20-goal-a-season striker, but I do hope he can get us 15, 16 a season. You know, keep us above water, no stress, 12, 13, and we build on that going forward.
I think he's heading towards the player that Ancelotti had. Not, as you say quite rightly, we're not there yet with him, but you can see a pattern coming with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and hope this doesn't come back to bite me on the arse. But the way he's playing now, we haven't seen him coming back from an injury like this for a long time. He's happy, as you say. He looks happy on the pitch. I know him and his partner have just had their first baby together, So, he's happy, he's settled, he's injury free, and he's playing regular football now. So for me, I think, touch wood, barring injuries, I think we are going to get the Calvert-Lewin back that we've seen under Ancelotti, but don't rush it. Just give him time, and hopefully, the manager won't rush him and play him every week for 90 minutes, because I don't think he's quite there yet to be able to do that. But we are seeing a better Calvert-Lewin this season than what we've seen for quite a while.
Yeah. I haven't really got tons more to add, apart from and look, we can't read into this too much, right? But Youssef Chermiti came on very late in the game. Lewis Dobbin yet again was left on the bench. Now, I like Dobbin. I rate Dobbin. Are you surprised that Dobbin's not getting more game time now that Chermiti and Beto's come in, or what are you expecting?
Ozzy?
No, look, I don't think it was time for Dobbin to get minutes on Saturday. I think it was important to give Beto and Chermiti minutes ahead of him. I think it would have been nice if maybe Beto would have come on and got a goal, and you can maybe look at, can we then introduce Lewis Dobbin into it and get him 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes? I don't know, but I'm not surprised not to see Dobbin too much now. I think McNeil coming back is big for the manager. The manager's obviously a really big Dwight McNeil fan. You've got Danjuma there. You've got Jack Harrison. He's chose to play James Garner wide. He's even chose to play Ashley Young wide at the end of the game on Saturday, which was quite surprising. I don't think the manager is someone who is going to play a lot of kids unless he absolutely has to. But to me, I wouldn't have thrown him on anyway, to be honest. I'd rather Beto have had the attention and Chermiti.
No, fair enough. One thing I will also say about Chermiti is the first time I saw him was away at, where was it? Where did we play in the League Cup? Yeah, right, Doncaster. So Chermiti started that game, and his first touch was horrendous. On Saturday when he come on, he was only on the pitch 5 minutes, but he was trying to play little triangles. He was winning the ball. He was being intricate. And look, it's a snapshot. It's 5 minutes, but you can clearly see he's developing quite nicely, actually. He's got a bit about him, the lad. What did you think, John?
Yeah, as you say, obviously he's playing in one of the biggest leagues in the world now, and he's playing with better players, I'd like to think, at a club like Everton. So it can only be good for his development, and it is going to take time. I don't think he's one for now. I think he's one for the future. But every time he comes on, he seems to be getting that little bit better. What I will say about that is, if you look at the substitutes that we can bring on now, the bench is looking a lot stronger over the past couple of weeks. There was times where we had to put 2 goalkeepers on the bench. You look at the bench now, we've got Danjuma on there, you've got Dobbin on there, you've got Chermiti on there, you've got Beto on there. So the bench is looking stronger now. So it allows us, if we're ahead in games, to take Calvert-Lewin off so we don't burn him out and injure him again. So it is positive, but I don't think the likes of Dobbin and Chermiti are going to get much time, as Millsy said, especially Dobbin, because I don't think Dyche is that sort of manager to bring kids in like that. When he's got experienced players who are fit, who he knows, obviously McNeil from his Burnley days and stuff like that, I think he will play them first, and I do think you're not going to see much of Dobbin, especially under Sean Dyche yet.
So Dobbin will be out on loan in January then.
It wouldn't surprise me. It depends. I think that depends how Chimiti's doing. I think if Chimiti's improving, as you said before, and seem to be getting up to speed a bit, into the Premier League, and he's getting more cameo appearances, but you can see the improvement, like you said, you're seeing on Saturday. I think the likes of Dobbin will be allowed to go out on loan.
And do you know what? The one part of that, and it's probably not a nice part of it, is Everton in January could do with a loan fee perhaps, and maybe say, look, if you can get £1 million in the door, because look what we're doing at the minute financially. It's like every penny counts. So maybe that's going to be a part of the discussion. That is someone going to give us $500,000, $2 million to take Lewis Dobbin for 6 months? That could play a factor, I think.
Yeah. Depends on how squad size and injuries.
Do you say Michael?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Honestly,
I thought he actually done all right the other week as well when he played that 3-2.
The League Cup.
Yeah, he did. To be fair, he did. To be honest, I think he probably suits a 3 better than he suits a 2. If I'm being honest,
that's because he's got another 2 players there to get him out the shit.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of dodgy moments against Sevilla, but he got away with it. Right, I have nothing more to add. Really, I think the only person that I could talk about a little bit is maybe better, but I don't think it's worth opening that can of worms right now. Because if I'm being completely honest, I think it's far too early. I think some fans are writing better off before he's acclimatised to the Premier League. A lot of people are saying he's not very good, and I'm not ready to make that judgment yet.
I'm very quick. I'm very quick. Sorry, all I will say about that, because I know Millsy hasn't spoke much by being backwards and forwards. I'm very quick to write players off me, and I think a lot of people know that, but I don't think we can nowhere near write him off yet. I think it's going to take time for him as well.
No, I think look at the age of some of our signings. Now this goes back to Onana has been getting an awful lot of grief, and I think it's time sometimes we just need to take ourselves out of being a football fan. These are young lads who are coming across to play at a completely different level. Yes, he's played in Serie A. Serie A is not as fast and demanding and as good as our game here in England. And the same for Onana. When we were told by all these scouts and these credible journalists and people who, when we signed Onana, they were all saying he's raw, give him time, don't get on his back. Maybe the same applies to Beto. Maybe this is a kid coming over who just needs us as a fan base to be patient.
Yeah, I think it's tough to be patient when you support Everton, isn't it? We know that, you've got the manager having a pop at us, you've got everything that's going on in the background, so it is tough to be patient, but as you said, I think we've just got to stand back a bit and let what's going on behind the scenes carry on. Let Sean Dyche carry on having a pop at people. But when it comes to the playing staff, as you've just said, Millsy, just take a step back, because I've been so critical of Onana, but I'll also give credit where it's due as well. And I think when he's played with Garner, as I said, I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
Right then, guys. Well, I think I'm going to leave it there. Millsy, thank you for popping on as always. John, thank you for being you. You are who you are.
That was nicer to John than me. Is that because I've made you do a big edit tonight? You're being a bit nicer to John. That was. I'm not editing anything. I'm not editing anything. They're going to see all the technical glitches live as it happens throughout the show. They're going to enjoy it as well. £50 microphone here that's getting launched in a minute.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to have a chat with Millsy about some stuff anyway, and so is John. We want Millsy to be more involved with the channel, so we need to work out the logistics of that, and that may well involve John and Millsy. So I need to have a sit down with the three of you.
With the two of us,
we're leaving it there. Keep smiling. Up the toughies. We won 3-0. The manager hates us. We love life. Peace.